Some better news. Since the story was filed, Castillo has been picked up by a Major League Baseball team, the Toronto Blue Jays. He's in the team's training system now, hopes to someday make it into a starting lineup in the major leagues. The average GDP per capita in Venezuela is a little more than $14,000 per year. Compare that to the potential for these most elite athletes. Take a look. The highest paid players in U.S. professional baseball. The top two are from the U.S., but the third highest paid player, you guessed it, this year, it's from Venezuela, Miguel Cabrera. He was paid a salary of $28 million for this year alone. Others on this highest paid list include players from Cuba and the Dominican Republic. Here to talk more about the importance of sports programs in developing countries is Mark Gray. He's a broadcast and online sports reporter. He's been on our show before talking about sports. Great to have you back.
Always a pleasure.
Let me ask you this. You know, I guess it's always this dream, my pathway out of poverty, professional sports. How realistic is it?
Well, it's a very difficult challenge, but when you look at the socioeconomic issues that affect those Central and Latin American countries, it's magnified threefold. And that really opens up the prospects for what I like to refer to as flesh peddling. You have a lot of people that are looking to, for lack of a better term, broker deals with a family of kids who are between 9 and 14 years old because there's such a short shelf life. Most baseball scouts want to sign players from those countries by 16. So if a player doesn't develop until he's 17, then you bring in the fake birth certificates and things of that nature, which has plagued that area in terms of its credibility with its talent for quite some time.
Yeah, I remember years ago, Fernando Valenzuela, no one could figure out how old the guy was. Is he 19 or is he 29? Let me ask you about the importance of sports in places like Sao Paulo when you think about it. Football, soccer, it's a way of keeping kids away from crime and gangs, isn't it?
It embodies a lot of what we feel here in the United States would help offset some of the criminal behavior of youth right now when you give them an activity. But again, unlike America, where there's such a discretionary income where you can have accessibility to athletic equipment, one of the great challenges is those kids don't even have equipment. You know, there's a great, untold tale, if you will, about how Brazilian kids will ball up socks and play indoors with soccer, with socks as their football, if you will. So I think the challenges that are facing those countries in terms of development talent are greatly affected by the economic condition. And when you don't give them the equipment, the type of coaching, it becomes a great challenge. And then that just opens up the door for some nefarious ways to influence the way that kids develop.
Yeah, but it's interesting though. Sports can be such a unifying force, even diplomatically. When you think back, the U.S. president visiting Havana, there with the Cuban president, taking in a baseball game, the hot dogs, the sodas, the conversation. It's really special, isn't it?
Sports is détente. Let's be clear, for the 2.5, 3 hours that you're playing a football match or for a 3.5 to maybe 4 hour baseball game, none of the political stuff matters. And I think that the common ground, as we've seen in America, which has helped to bridge social gaps, also, and I think that's the thing that makes baseball such a great commodity, if you will, here in the West. The passion for the game between North America and Central America stands with no other. That's what has made the World Baseball Classic such a phenomenal success, and it's even spreading into Asia right now. The opportunity for people to bond on a level where they all speak the same language of baseball, of football, or soccer as it's known around the world, those are unifying elements, and we just hope they continue because the world does need stuff like that.
But there's a balancing act here, which maybe you can talk a little bit about. When you think about sports, there's some people who just have this innate gift, and they focus on that. They don't focus so much on the academics, and then something happens. They blow out their arm, their knee goes, something like that. And suddenly, where are they?
Well, the dilemma then on the backside of that, what kind of hope does the academic situation give you in Venezuela right now? I mean, if you have a subpar, below third world academic IQ, if you will, then athletics does represent a legitimate way of getting out of the poverty. And let's be clear, Mike, just because a guy doesn't rise to the level of Miguel Cabrera, where you can make that $28 million a year, if the GDP of Venezuela is $14,000 per citizen, and you can become a minor league player, where your salary may not be $28 million a year, but somewhere between $75,000 and $150,000, you've changed the life for yourself and your family back home. And that's a representative sample of some things where you may not see a guy at major league level, but there are some guys from foreign lands who are doing pretty well by their homeland standards playing in the minor leagues, which gives them a new lease on life.
Boy, you hit it on the head there with that. I mean, you can be a utility infielder in the major leagues for years, and that's quite a win.
Just think you can live a lot better on $150,000 in Rochester than you can in Caracas.
Absolutely. Good point. Mark Gray, always a delight. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
If you like what you just saw, follow us on social media and visit our website, CCTV-America.com.